The newly refurbished USF Sundome held all the action as Bellator Fighting Championships visited Tampa, Florida. The Sundome had a real nice-sized crowd as the Central Florida fans were beyond excited. In store, some crazy top-level MMA action in multiple weight divisions. A lot of money will be changing hands tonight as the welterweight tournament finals between Brian Baker and Carl Amisu get settled tonight. Also, the light heavyweight semifinals and knockout artist Paul Daly steps into the cage. All that and much more as Jay Adams' Brawl Call for the very first time visits with Bellator Fighting Championships. In the welterweight division, the rubber match between Joachim Spirit Wolf and Marius Zaromskis turned into a disappointing match. The pre-fight hype by both fighters had the crowd anticipating more exciting trades, but neither guy could get their hands going the way they wanted. Spirit Wolf was frustrated all night long by Zaromskis' takedown defense. Spirit Wolf has now lost 4 fights in a row. Zaromskis, conversely, has won 4 in a row. Big congratulations go out to Mario.
Hi, this is Kevin the Monster Randleman, and you're watching Jay's Brawl. Hi, this is Kevin Randleman, and you're watching Jay's Call. You're watching Kevin Randleman, and this...
Let's see our first tournament format fight of the night. It is in the light heavyweight division. Emmanuel Newton and Attila Vey. Light heavyweight tournament semifinal fight number 2. Emmanuel Newton versus Attila Vey. Attila Vey riding into this bout on a 6-fight win streak with outstanding hands and submissions. Newton, more the wrestler, looking to get Vey to the ground early and nullify Vey's striking. The match ended up primarily as a tentative stand-up kickboxing affair, favoring Vey with the split decision win. So it's Attila Vey, Travis View in the light heavyweight tournament finals. So Attila Vey advances to the light heavyweight championship finals, that much closer to $100,000. Emmanuel Newton clearly very upset with that decision. He thought he won. A lot of other people thought he won as well. But it is Attila Vey who will move on to face Travis Dieselview for $100,000 in the light heavyweight championship fight. But right now, it's the knockout specialist, Paul Daly, stepping into the cage. This guy has over 20 wins by means of knockout or submission. This guy knows how to finish fights.
In the welterweight division, UFC and Strikeforce veteran Paul Daly making his Bellator debut against journeyman Rudy Bears. He had a lot of pressure on him and had to come up big, and that's just what he did. Semtex, known for his tendency to finish fights early, goes to the Thai plum early and starts rattling Bears with knees. Then boom! The big left hand and win number 30 for the Englishman. Bjorn Rebney has to be happy with the English import.
Here with Paul Semtex Daly, had a big win tonight, a fast win. You got to be happy with your performance. What kind of pressure was on you coming in here? You're a big name coming into a big show. Everybody expects you to perform, and anything can happen in the cage. What kind of pressure was on you before this fight?
There was no real pressure, really. You know, I'm the type of guy that I'm quite a confident guy. So I came into the fight fully expecting I was going to win. So if you're in that mind state, then there is no pressure because the outcome's already set in my head. You know.
Everybody knows you got the dangerous hands over 20 of your fights by knockout or defeating them. You know you never leave it in the judge's hands. You're a great finisher, and Bjorn is expecting big things from you here in Bellator. And he said you're one of the most dangerous guys out there with your hands. How does that make you feel when the owner of the company, the founder, has that kind of confidence in you?
You know, it puts a lot of pressure on you, but.
That's the pressure.
Yeah, outside the cage, outside the cage, you know, I can deal with the pressure. Inside the cage, there's never no pressure. But outside the cage, you know, there's a lot of expectations as far as you know what people expect of you. But when it comes down to fighting, it's in my nature to be a victor. So.
And what did you think of the tournament? That's your weight division. What did you think of the tourney and the tourney winner?
Yeah, it's fantastic. The tournament format is great, and Carla Musa, I've known him for a while from fighting on the shows back in Europe, Cage Warriors and such. You know, he's a great fighter, and I'm sure that he'll be the champion. I'm quite confident in that. And
you will face him sometime in the future, and what can we look forward to in that match?
If he keeps the belt, then there's a good chance that I'll face him. But, you know, there's Season 7, the Season 8, and I'm not sure which tournament I'm going to be in. But whoever's the champion at the time, I'm going to come and win.
In the light heavyweight tournament semifinals, 9-1 Tim Carpenter facing 67-14 Travis View. View, the longtime veteran, having won his last 5 fights in a row. Carpenter tricky on the ground, but View looking every bit a heavyweight, was simply too big and strong, taking Carpenter down at will and letting that ground and pound go as needed. Carpenter had a few moments, but it was a View runover. The Big Diesel goes to the finals for a potential huge payday.
Big fight highlights coming up after this short break. Carl Amisu, Brian Baker stepping into the cage. This is the welterweight tournament final. Whoever wins this fight wins $100,000. A big moment for both of these young fighters right after this break.
My name is Fabrice Verdun. Thanks for watching.
In the welterweight tournament championship, $100,000 on the line. Brian Baker against Carl Amisu. What looked to be a developing stand-up war quickly goes south as Baker's kick inadvertently gives up his back. Amisu jumps on the opportunity, slaps on the inverted heel hook. With the win, he earns the right to face Ben Askren, Bellator's undefeated champ at 170 for the title.
So apparently the time that Carl Amisu needed to gather his thoughts after the eye poke was just the right amount of time, because he quickly came back and took Baker out by means of the heel. Baker so dejected. Carl Amisu puts $100,000 in his pocket. A lot of money for sure. And you didn't see it, but during the break, Carl Amisu was hugging one of the guys in his corner. He got very emotional. A huge moment for the young welterweight. And you got to believe he was watching Paul Daly's fight. Eventually, I can see Amisu and Daly getting together at welterweight. A nice win. Let's go cage side for the presentation.
Wow, rolling for the heel hook. I don't believe it, he does. There's the tap, and there's the victory. Next up, Ben Askren, $100,000 in the welterweight tournament championship to Carl Amisu. That is an unbelievable finish for Carl Psycho Amisu. Carl Psycho Amisu.
Here with Bjorn Rebney, the founder and CEO of Bellator. Great show here tonight. We had a blast. First, I want to thank you for your hospitality, Bjorn. We've done a lot of shows, and this was one of the funnest shows, and your people were so nice to us. Gracious hospitality. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. That's great to hear. We talk about it a lot, and it translates well to the media. It translates well to the fighters, so it's working.
Do you consider yourself the #2 promotion in the world?
Now I think we can safely say we are. I mean, you know, it's been. Did we climb to it and matriculate to it, or was it a matter of attrition? You know, when I came into this game and I started Bellator, there was an IFL, there was Elite XC, there was a WEC, there was Strikeforce, there was Affliction. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And we're all familiar with kind of the bodies by the side of the road, if you will. Yeah. And now, for all intents and purposes, there's a UFC, their Great Fox Alliance, which is good for them. And there's Bellator, which has its Viacom partnership and is moving to Spike. So there's two of us. We've got 85 countries around the world that are carrying Bellator week in and week out. So it's been a rapid progression. But at this point, there's two major players in the space, and obviously the UFC is the most recognizable brand and the biggest brand in MMA. But you know, I like what we're doing, and I'm crazy about our partnership with Spike and Viacom. I think there's a lot of good things to come.
That was a major shot in the arm, and Epics and Spike. I got to know this. I want to know if you were a Swami this far ahead, if you were a prophet. During the early days when you were spending a lot of money and having trouble putting people in the house and putting together fabulous cards, fabulous TV shows. So you're doing quantity, you're doing quality, which is so brutally expensive when the houses are small and everybody's saying, what is he doing? What is he doing? He's bleeding like a sieve. This guy's not going to be around for long. Were you always thinking of the TV model? Were you not sweating the gate, or were you sweating the gate and saying, boy, I need the gate to help me get to the TV model? Or was it really a far-reaching plan where you were saying eventually UFC is going to get a TV deal, they're going to be looking for a new dance partner, and I can slide in? Was it a prophet? Was it a prophecy? Swami, was it a prophecy?
It was, I'll tell you what it was. If my car breaks down on the side of the road, I can't fix it. When something goes wrong in my house, my wife looks at me like I'm an idiot because I can't do anything. I've spent 25 years in many ways connected to this industry. I was an attorney and I represented athletes, and I started representing fighting sports athletes in the boxing industry. I ran a boxing promotion company that had the highest rated fight show on the ESPN Family Network for 6 straight years. I cut a myriad of different international television licensing deals. I brought sponsors in from the general market to support fighting sports. I followed this game for many years. So when I crafted the business model, it wasn't like many of the organizations that came into MMA where they were looking to get into it, and they kind of knew how to reach the young male demo, but they hadn't really been fight promoters. They'd never actually produced fighting sports for television, and they thought, well, if we just get a big TV deal and throw mud at the wall, something will stick. That was never the model. The model was well thought out, and looking back at the model now that I drafted in 2008, I was very, very close on most of the big numbers in terms of expense and revenue, and the time frame that I thought it would take to get there. TV is the driver. It's like buying property. It's location, location, location. If you've got the right distribution partner, and I think we have the best distribution partner in fighting sports, Viacom and Spike, you can build the brand in a very powerful way. So the model was right. But if you asked me, hey, let's go out and play backgammon, or hey, let's go out and cook, or any other things you might ask me about, I don't know how to answer any of them. But the business model was correct, and it takes a lot of money to build a brand out like this. It is not an inexpensive venture. It's not for the weak of heart, but I was very fortunate. I had a group of investors behind me who understood what I was saying, who believed the model, who did the due diligence, and gave me the capital necessary to bring it to this point of cash flow break-even, partnership with Viacom, Spike, and it's worked.
And worked very well. So now you're the number 2 person out there. Your partners in the TV space have said they're very competitive. You're clearly very competitive. Where do you see this thing unfolding to? And, there's been talk about how you guys have a mutual respect with Dana, and Dana's not saying anything bad about you. You don't say anything bad about him. But for a while, Dana was having troubles with, there were groups who were saying he was being, taking a monopolistic type of anti-competitive type of approach. And do you think that there's any credence to the talk around town that he's not attacking you because you've actually become a valve, a steam valve for him, where you've let off some of the pressure because now there's another big dog in town. That takes a little bit of the heat off of him, any kind of antitrust type of stuff. Do you think that's why that there's good blood, or are there other reasons that there's good blood right now?
I don't know. I really don't know. I wouldn't want to try to get into his head in terms of what he was thinking or what was motivating his action. I do know that they've done a terrific job. I mean, ever since the brand was able to align with Spike in 2005 and the Ultimate Fighter kicked off, there's been exponential growth. I mean, a lot of that, of course, is due to the distribution platform they had, the overabundance of content that Spike put out into the marketplace. It was branded UFC. And they've put on great shows. And they've got some spectacularly talented fighters, many of whom I watch. So, but you're not going to find yourself in my position or his if you're not fiercely competitive. It's not an industry that is particularly forgiving, and so it's different approaches, but a like mind to where I'm sure he is driving to take that brand and where I'm driving to take this brand. But I really don't know. I mean, I watched with great interest as the Elite XCs and the IFLs and the heads of these organizations would stand up on a platform and pound their chest and talk garbage about the UFC. And it always kind of struck me as odd because at the time I used to say to myself, if you're a fan of MMA, you're a fan of the UFC. There's some wickedly talented fighters there and they put on great shows. So you couldn't really be an MMA fan at heart and not follow their product. Yeah. And so it just always struck me odd. And when I got into this business and started this company, I thought to myself, well, that would be kind of a counterintuitive thing to do. Why would you do that? Yeah. They put out a good product. We put out a good product. And, we'll see. Fans will make their choice. We have a much different format, much different structure. What we do is much different than what they do. They follow a matchmaking formula. It doesn't mean it's right or wrong. We follow a real sport formula where it's all objective and guys move forward based on nothing but winning. Different models. But they put on great shows. I think we put on some good shows.
You do. You put on a great show. And along those lines, with these great shows and with this model, do you think down the road this allows you to get the better fighters, knowing that this model, most people would agree, is a more fighter-friendly model because the fighters have their future in their own hands. Does that allow you 3, 4, 5 years down the road to grab the better fighters?
Well, I think one of the things that makes great mixed martial arts fighters and that makes great NFL players and that makes great NBA players is that they believe in their mind and they believe in their heart that they can win. And athletes at that level that believe that want very badly to control their own destiny. They want to take the politics out of it. They want to be able to ultimately say, if I win, if I prevail, if I land all my blocks, if I catch all the balls, if I hit every shot, if I'm strong on defense, if I knock the guy out, I'm ultimately going to get to the promised land. So I think it's a very fighter-friendly model just because, even guys that are 2 and 6 in the MMA game, in their mind, the kind of courage it takes to get into that cage, they ultimately believe, man, if I had enough time to train and I can get to the right camp and I get my nutrition in line, I got with the right trainers, I can probably beat anybody in the world. That's the mindset it takes for guys to get inside that cage. So I think our model from a pure sports perspective is probably a little bit more apt to attract the exact kind of guy that wants very badly to achieve greatness inside that cage. But it's a competitive industry. You're going to see guys go there and you're going to see guys go here, and especially as we transition to Spike, I think that door will open more widely. But it's an interesting question.
It's going to be exciting to watch you guys on Spike. All right, I want to be sensitive of your time, so we're going to play the speed round here.
Cool.
Now you can't look. Now, these are wacky, random, just, some of them are left field. They might not mean anything, but just, one word out, you give me a one-word answer to it. Cruiserweight division.
Probably not.
Vince McMahon.
Very successful.
MMA in New York.
Soon, hopefully.
Bellator Hall of Fame.
Toby Amata.
Steroids.
Very, very bad and unfair.
Female fighters.
Excellent, talented. Megumi Fujii, Jessica Aguilar. Sorry, that's too many responses, I know. Deserve to be on the big stage.
Boxing.
In a troubled place.
Dana White.
Driven.
Thank you, Bjorn Rebney, founder, CEO of Bellator. Thank you for your time, and thanks for a great show tonight.
Thank you. Thanks for
All
coming.
right. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
That is an unbelievable finish for Carl Psycho Amasu. Carl Psycho Amasu.
After you won, you were understandably emotional when you were hugging your corner. I'd like to find out what you guys were saying to each other. It was a long hug. What were you guys saying to each other?
Well, I talked to my brother and I loved him. And that's it, yeah. I really love my big brother, and he does everything for me, and he loves me too, I think. That's what he was saying. And yeah, we train hard together every morning, and actually he's the only guy who is killing me on the ground every day. There's nobody in my training partners who is submitting me, and my brother is now 46 and he's still submitting me all the time, and that just makes me crazy. And we train really hard together, and he's nobody knows his level on the ground, but I can tell you that I've never faced a guy who is so strong than him on the ground, really. And yeah, we were just hugging each other with Bertrand. So we were hugging with Bertrand and with Jean-Marie, my other coach, and I was just thanking them because we've done such a hard work, and now here we are. And it's sacrifices, 2-3 trainings a day, almost no social life, but the price is here now, and yeah, I am.
Quick follow-up to that one. What difference does $100,000 make in your life as a fighter? We all know how hard it is to be a fighter financially. What difference does $100,000 make in your life?
Money is not such a big issue for me. Of course, if you tell me you give me $500,000, I I will say yes. So Bjorn, maybe if you want to give me a bit more, it's okay. I will be okay with that. But I mean, the money is really secondary. You need enough, of course, to have a good life and to be able to train and travel enough. But what you want as a fighter, I think all the fighters are going to tell you the same, is to I mean, the passionate fighters, the guys who make it really because they are passionate by their sport. You just want to win the fights. This is the most important. And the money, I don't care so much. You know, it's okay. It's good. I'm going to put it on the side and that's it. I'm not gonna buy a brand new car. I'm just gonna put it on the side and get ready for the next fight.
Special shout out to Amisu, Daly, View, and Vey, and an old friend of the show, Ben the Killer B Saunders, for all coming up with big wins tonight. And of course, big congratulations go out to Bjorn Rebney on all of his acquisitions, all of these television networks, Epix, Viacom, Spike, major shot in the arm for Bellator, which is great because he's out there for the fighters. It's very clear to me after being here tonight. He is here for the fighters, so it's great that he picked up these networks. It is very good for the sport of MMA. If Bellator comes to your town, definitely check it out. Go check out one of their shows. You will not be disappointed. It is an absolute blast. I'm Jay Adams. We'll see you next time on BrawlCall.
Hi, this is Kevin Randerman, and you're watching Jay's Brawl Call.